Have somebody come get my son. He in the house with me. No. Yes. Hey, y'all, I just want to say I'm sorry. This is going to be the last day everybody hear from me, bro. This is going to be the last day y'all hear from me, bro. I'm sorry. There's just been too much going on. Police out here.
I'm not crazy, but it's a lot of things I can't take. These haunting words echoed through larval Huddleston's apartment as he paced back and forth, weapon in hand, broadcasting his final moments on Facebook Live. The 26-year-old man moved frantically across the screen, his voice alternating between calm resignation and desperate pleas. For 8 excruciating minutes on February 5th, 2022, viewers witnessed a man unraveling in real time. He showed the clothes he wanted to be buried in. He prayed for forgiveness. He requested police safely retrieve his 2-year-old son from the apartment, all while the aftermath of his violence lay just outside. What made this broadcast particularly disturbing wasn't just the presence of a weapon or his suicidal intentions. It was knowing that moments earlier, he had shot 3 people from his second-floor balcony, including Ariana Reed, the mother of his child. Ariana Nicole Reed was just 23 years old when her life was violently cut short. A dedicated mother to 2-year-old Egypt, a medical assistant studying to become a registered nurse, and described by family as the life of the party. That Saturday morning began with a routine act of co-parenting, dropping off her son to spend time with his father. No one could have predicted that this ordinary exchange would end with Arieuna being shot from a second-floor balcony as she attempted to leave. As she crawled desperately toward the building seeking help, 2 bystanders rushed to her aid. Their compassion cost one man his life and left another wounded when Huddleston continued firing. The shocking contrast between the perfect gentleman Ariuna's family knew and the man who committed this public execution left a community reeling and a family shattered, with little Egypt now orphaned by a single morning's violence. If you've ever wondered how someone described as a perfect gentleman could transform into a killer in an instant, stay with me throughout this video. Ariuna's father had even studied the Bible with Huddleston, seeing no warning signs of the violence to come. What invisible pressures were building beneath the surface? What signals were missed? These questions aren't just academic. They could save lives. As you watch, consider the relationships in your own life. Do you truly know what's happening behind closed doors? Hit that subscribe button and notification bell now, because understanding these hidden dynamics might help you recognize danger before tragedy strikes. In today's video, we'll examine the subtle warning signs that preceded this tragedy. Signs hidden in plain sight on social media, where Huddleston openly discussed his paranoia and PTSD. We'll explore how mental health struggles, when left untreated, can escalate to violence, and why domestic disputes remain among the most dangerous situations for women. Most importantly, we'll share concrete strategies for protecting yourself and loved ones from similar situations. From recognizing concerning behaviors to understanding when and how to safely exit a potentially dangerous relationship. These insights aren't just informative, they're potentially life-saving tools that everyone deserves to have. Before Ariana Reed became another heartbreaking statistic, she was a vibrant young woman with dreams that extended far beyond her 23 years. Her TikTok showcased her joyful personality through viral dances and creative scrapbooking projects. Her family spoke of her infectious laugh and entrepreneurial spirit as she built a vending machine business while pursuing her nursing education. To truly understand the magnitude of what was lost that February morning, we need to step back and examine the full picture of Ariuna's life, her relationships, her aspirations, and the complex dynamics that ultimately led to that fatal encounter on a cold Milwaukee morning. Born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Ariana Reed grew up surrounded by a tight-knit family who adored her. The bond between Ariana and her parents, Tracy and Aaron Reed, formed the foundation of her supportive upbringing. Her brother Aaron and uncle Guy Alicia Reed rounded out the close family circle that celebrated her achievements and encouraged her dreams. Family gatherings invariably centered around Ariuna's magnetic presence. Her father described her as the life of the family, someone whose vibrant spirit could transform an ordinary moment into a memorable one. She possessed that rare quality of making everyone feel valued in her presence, creating connections through her genuine interest in others and her infectious laugh that could fill a room. The Reed family prided themselves on their unity and mutual support. They shared holidays, weekend barbecues, and impromptu get-togethers, where Arieuna often became the heart of the celebration. These strong family ties provided her with stability and confidence as she navigated young adulthood and early motherhood. Despite her youth, Arieuna approached life with remarkable maturity. At 23, she balanced multiple responsibilities while maintaining the joyful spirit that defined her. Her family described her as determined and resilient, facing challenges with a positive attitude that inspired those around her. Motherhood transformed Ariuna's life when she welcomed her son Egypt into the world. The 2-year-old boy quickly became the center of her universe, with Ariuna structuring her educational pursuits and career goals around providing him with stability and opportunity. Friends noted how she would light up when talking about her son's latest milestones or sharing videos of his antics. Despite her relationship with larval Huddleston ending, Ariuna remained committed to ensuring Egypt maintained a meaningful connection with his father. She approached co-parenting with remarkable maturity, putting aside personal differences to create a healthy environment for their son. The regular drop-offs and shared parenting responsibilities demonstrated her belief that Egypt deserved the love of both parents. Family members observed how Ariuna would meticulously pack Egypt's favorite toys, snacks, and comfort items for visits with his father, always ensuring transitions were smooth and positive for her son. Her dedication to peaceful co-parenting revealed her selfless nature and unwavering focus on Egypt's emotional well-being. Ariuna's professional path reflected her compassionate nature and desire to help others. Already working as a medical assistant, she was actively pursuing further education to become a registered nurse. Her colleagues described her as detail-oriented and genuinely concerned about patient comfort, qualities that made her stand out in the healthcare setting. Balancing work, motherhood, and education required exceptional time management and determination. Ariuna would often study late into the night after putting Egypt to bed, determined to create a better future for them both. Her textbooks frequently contained notes in the margins and highlighted passages, evidence of her thorough approach to learning. The nursing profession appealed to Ariuna because it combined her natural caregiving instincts with her intellectual curiosity. She spoke enthusiastically about specializing in pediatric nursing, inspired partly by her experiences as a mother. Her instructors noted her thoughtful questions and ability to connect theoretical knowledge with practical applications, marking her as a promising future nurse.
Police continue to search for more clues in a shooting in Brown Deer yesterday that left 3 people dead and a 4th person injured.
Bruce Harrison spoke with the family of a young mother who was among those shot and killed.
Ariana Reed's brother, Aaron, left Milwaukee. He was afraid to start a family in a violent city. But violence brought him home yesterday in a rush when his sister was shot and killed.
It's like a hole that I ain't gonna never be able to close. You know what I'm saying? It's like
A close family, big brother Aaron watched out for Ari as she was known by her family.
I was always there to protect her every day. You know what I'm saying? Any questions, any schoolyard bullies, we went to school together. We 7 to 8 years apart, so I was always the one she came to when anything came up.
Now, he's here to speak for her.
She was the life, you know what I'm saying? She was the life of the family. Anytime we came together, we always looked for my little sister to keep the joy going on around us.
Ari's family says her ex-boyfriend and father of her child shot her to death. She had stopped by his home to drop off their 2-year-old son, Egypt. The suspect's brother tells TMJ4 News that man's name is Larval Huddleston. Police believe the suspect shot and killed himself. Ari's family is struggling to accept that gun violence in the city has touched them.
For it to hit home like the way it's hitting home, it's diabolical. You know, it's really diabolical, and we are hurting so bad.
Ari was studying to be a registered nurse. She also ran a small design company. Her mother, Tracy, told us Ari loved her family. Together, they'll raise Egypt.
Any and everything that he could possibly need or want in life, he can always call me. I'll always come back home in a heartbeat.
Reporting in Milwaukee, Bruce Harrison, TMJ4 News.
Beyond her healthcare career, Ariana was developing a vending machine business, demonstrating her entrepreneurial vision. She researched locations, product selections, and profit margins with characteristic thoroughness, seeing this venture as another path toward financial security for her family. On social media, particularly TikTok, Ariana shared glimpses of her multifaceted life. Her account featured everything from trending dance challenges that showcased her playful side to detailed scrapbooking tutorials revealing her creative talents. These posts attracted a modest but growing following who appreciated her authenticity and warm personality. Through these platforms, she connected with like-minded individuals, sharing parenting tips and celebrating small victories in her busy life. The Reed family had no inkling of the danger lurking in Ariana's co-parenting relationship. Ariana Reed, her father, had even participated in Bible study sessions with Huddleston, describing him as a perfect gentleman who showed no concerning behaviors. This perception made the violent outcome all the more shocking and incomprehensible to those who knew them both. Family members observed what appeared to be a respectful, if distant, relationship focused entirely on Egypt's well-being. There were no heated arguments, threatening messages, or concerning incidents that might have signaled the potential for violence. The disconnect between the family's perception of Huddleston and his eventual actions highlights how effectively some individuals can conceal their internal struggles. Ariana Reed and Larval Huddleston's paths first crossed at a community event in Milwaukee during the summer of 2018. Friends recall their initial connection seemed genuine. Huddleston was attentive, charming, and appeared genuinely interested in Ariana's aspirations. Their early relationship progressed quickly, with shared interests and mutual friends strengthening their bond. Within months of dating, the couple discovered they were expecting a child. The pregnancy, while unplanned, was embraced by both Ariana and Larval, who expressed excitement about becoming parents. They welcomed their son Egypt in early 2020, and for a brief period, appeared to be building a life together as a young family. However, cracks in their relationship began to emerge as the realities of parenthood and financial pressures mounted. Those close to the couple noted increasing tension and disagreements about parenting approaches and future plans. Ariana's focus on education and career advancement sometimes clashed with Huddleston's expectations of family life. By mid-2021, the romantic relationship had dissolved, though not with the dramatic confrontations that often mark breakups. Instead, their separation was described by mutual friends as a gradual drifting apart, with both acknowledging they functioned better as co-parents than romantic partners. There were no restraining orders, no documented instances of physical violence, and no apparent reason for anyone to suspect the tragedy that would eventually unfold. Following their separation, Arieuna and Larval established what appeared to be a workable co-parenting arrangement centered on Egypt's needs. They maintained a regular schedule where Egypt would spend weekends and occasional weeknights with his father at the Park Plaza apartments in Brown Deer. Text messages between them primarily focused on logistics, pickup times, supplies needed, and updates about their son's health or activities. Ariana approached these exchanges with pragmatism, documenting their agreements and keeping communication cordial but limited to matters concerning Egypt. Friends noted her commitment to shielding her son from any lingering tension, often speaking positively about Daddy when preparing Egypt for visits. She would pack favorite toys, comfort items, and detailed notes about recent developments in Egypt's routine. Family members observed that while the relationship wasn't particularly warm, it seemed functional and respectful. Ariana never expressed fear or concern about Huddleston's behavior toward her or their son, maintaining what appeared to be a peaceful co-parenting dynamic. While Huddleston presented a composed facade during in-person interactions, his social media accounts told a different story. In September 2020, he posted candidly about his mental health challenges. "I suffer from paranoia and PTSD, so no, I'm not normal." He attributed these struggles partly to his environment, writing, "My environment most definitely played a major part of why I move the way I do." These digital breadcrumbs of distress continued throughout 2021, with cryptic posts about feeling misunderstood and references to internal battles that others couldn't see. Friends occasionally responded with supportive comments, but there's no evidence Huddleston sought or received professional help for these acknowledged conditions. His online presence revealed a growing disconnect between his public persona and private thoughts. While he maintained the image of a dedicated father in photos with Egypt, his written posts hinted at darker thought patterns and increasing isolation. He shared memes about betrayal and trust issues, interspersed with occasional philosophical reflections on manhood and responsibility. Most concerning in retrospect were posts suggesting he felt cornered or trapped by circumstances beyond his control. These statements, while not explicitly threatening, demonstrated a mindset where options were narrowing, a psychological state that experts recognize as potentially dangerous when combined with untreated mental health conditions and access to weapons. The stark contrast between Huddleston's public image and his internal reality represents a critical lesson in this tragedy. To Ariuna's family, he was the perfect gentleman who participated in Bible study with her father. To casual observers, he was a young father fulfilling his parental responsibilities without drama or conflict. Yet beneath this carefully maintained exterior churned unaddressed mental health issues and mounting pressure. This disconnect highlights how effectively some individuals compartmentalize their struggles, presenting a composed facade while internally approaching a breaking point. Huddleston's ability to maintain this dual existence, respected community member in person, troubled soul online, prevented those around him from recognizing the potential danger. The absence of traditional warning signs further complicated the situation. There were no previous arrests for violent behavior, no restraining orders filed, and no documented threats. This case demonstrates how conventional red flags may sometimes be replaced by subtle indicators that are only recognized in hindsight, making intervention before tragedy extraordinarily difficult. Have you ever known someone who seemed perfectly fine on the surface, but was battling invisible demons underneath? The disconnect between Huddleston's public image and private reality raises important questions about how we perceive those around us. Could you recognize these subtle warning signs in someone you know? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you're finding this analysis valuable, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your engagement helps us reach more people with these potentially life-saving insights. I want y'all to see this, he stated early in the broadcast, positioning his phone to capture both himself and glimpses of the scene outside his balcony, where first responders were attending to his victims. The calculated nature of this documentation suggested he wanted to control the narrative of events, ensuring his perspective would survive regardless of the outcome. Throughout the stream, Huddleston's demeanor fluctuated dramatically. At times, he appeared almost detached, speaking in measured tones about what he had done. In other moments, his voice cracked with emotion, particularly when mentioning his son. This emotional instability, captured in real time, revealed the psychological fragmentation occurring as he confronted the consequences of his actions. Perhaps most disturbing was his apparent awareness of the gravity of his actions, coupled with a strange detachment from their moral implications. He showed viewers the clothes he wished to be buried in, a deliberate preparation for what he clearly saw as his inevitable end, demonstrating that his actions were not impulsive, but part of a tragic plan he was now executing. During the livestream, Huddleston made several revealing statements about his mental state and motivations. "Me mentally, I've been through too much," he confessed to viewers, his voice momentarily breaking. "I'm not crazy, but it's a lot of SD I can't take." These admissions aligned with his previous social media posts about suffering from paranoia and PTSD, confirming that untreated mental health issues had reached a breaking point. Notably, Huddleston explicitly rejected the assumption that his violence stemmed from romantic jealousy or relationship issues. "NS going to think this over a BH. It's not," he stated firmly, suggesting more complex motivations than a typical domestic dispute. Instead, his rambling explanations pointed toward perceived injustices and accumulated grievances related to his role as a father and his place in society. Throughout the broadcast, Huddleston alternated between seeking understanding and expressing resignation. He prayed aloud at several points, asking for forgiveness while simultaneously justifying his actions. "I did what I had to do," he repeated, revealing a distorted moral framework where violence had become rationalized as necessary. His statements reflected a profound disconnection from reality, a psychological state where extreme violence had become an acceptable response to internal distress. This dangerous combination of mental health struggles, access to firearms, and a perceived lack of alternatives created the perfect storm that culminated in tragedy. Throughout the standoff, the safety of 2-year-old Egypt remained a paramount concern for law enforcement and viewers of the live stream alike. During the broadcast, Huddleston periodically panned the camera to show his son playing quietly in a bedroom, seemingly unaware of the gravity of the situation unfolding around him. "My son is fine," Huddleston assured viewers, and by extension, the police officers he knew were watching. "I would never hurt my baby." Despite the violence he had already perpetrated, Huddleston appeared to maintain a protective stance toward Egypt, a psychological compartmentalization that allowed him to separate his role as a father from his actions as a killer. As the standoff continued, Huddleston made a specific request to authorities. "I need y'all to come get my son." This statement, delivered with unexpected clarity amid his otherwise erratic commentary, suggested he recognized that Egypt needed protection from the situation he had created. Negotiators seized upon this opening, focusing their communication strategy on ensuring Egypt's safe removal from the apartment. At 12:23, after nearly 2 hours of tense negotiation, Huddleston agreed to release Egypt. A specialized tactical team approached the apartment, and Huddleston handed his son to officers through the partially opened door before quickly retreating inside and securing the entrance. With Egypt safely in police custody, the nature of the standoff fundamentally changed. Officers reported hearing a single gunshot from within the apartment at 12:31. When the tactical team breached the door minutes later, they discovered Huddleston had turned his weapon on himself, fulfilling the fate he had foreshadowed in his live stream. The medical examiner would later confirm his death as a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. The Milwaukee area investigative team conducted a thorough examination of the crime scene, collecting over 70 pieces of evidence, including the weapon, a 9mm handgun legally purchased by Huddleston 6 months earlier. Ballistics confirmed all victims were shot with the same firearm, with trajectory analysis supporting witness accounts of the shooting from the balcony. Digital forensics revealed a troubling escalation in Huddleston's online searches in the weeks before the incident, including queries about custody rights and signs of mental breakdown. His phone contained deleted text messages, suggesting growing frustration with co-parenting arrangements, though nothing explicitly threatening toward Arieuna. The medical examiner's report classified Ariana Reed and Michael Anderson's deaths as homicides from multiple gunshot wounds. Eric Lewis, who survived with a leg injury, provided crucial testimony that aligned with physical evidence and security footage. Investigators ultimately concluded the tragedy stemmed from an unplanned domestic dispute that rapidly escalated due to Huddleston's untreated mental health issues and immediate access to a firearm. The Milwaukee community responded with an outpouring of grief and support following the tragedy. 3 days after the shooting, more than 200 people gathered at Sherman Park for a candlelight vigil honoring Arieuna and Michael Anderson. Attendees included family members, healthcare colleagues, and strangers moved by the senseless violence that claimed 2 young lives. Local organizations focused on domestic violence prevention used the tragedy to highlight the often invisible dangers facing co-parents. The Milwaukee Women's Center organized a workshop titled Recognizing Warning Signs that drew unprecedented attendance, while community leaders called for increased mental health resources, particularly for young parents. Social media became a virtual memorial as #JusticeForAriuna trended locally, with friends sharing memories and photos celebrating her life. Her TikTok account transformed into a digital shrine where followers left messages of condolence and support for Egypt. The community's response reflected not just grief, but a collective determination to prevent similar tragedies through education, awareness, and policy changes addressing both domestic violence and mental health resources. For the Reed family, the devastating loss of Arieuna was compounded by the immediate responsibility of caring for 2-year-old Egypt, who had effectively lost both parents in a single day. Tracy and Aaron Reed, now thrust into the role of primary caregivers for their grandson, faced the impossible task of processing their own grief while creating stability for a toddler too young to understand the tragedy. We're determined to raise Egypt surrounded by love and positive memories of his mother, Ariana Reed stated at a press conference 2 weeks after the shooting. Arieuna lives on through him, and we see her smile at his eyes every day. The family established a consistent routine for Egypt, incorporating familiar elements from his life with Ariana while gradually helping him adjust to his new reality. Ariana Reed, Ariuna's aunt, became instrumental in preserving memories, creating a scrapbook of photographs and stories that Egypt could one day explore to know the mother he lost. The family's unified approach to raising Egypt embodied Ariuna's own dedication to providing her son with a loving, supportive environment. The Support for Egypt's Future GoFundMe campaign, launched by Ariuna's brother, raised over $30,000 in its first week. These funds helped cover funeral expenses and established a trust for Egypt's education. Additionally, local support groups provided the Reed family with grief counseling services specifically designed for families affected by traumatic loss. Ariana Reed's story reflects a disturbing pattern of violence affecting Black women across America. According to the Violence Policy Center's 2019 study, when men murder women, 60% of Black female homicide victims who knew their killers were murdered by current or former intimate partners. Even more alarming, 93% of these homicides were interracial, Black women killed by Black men they knew and often trusted. Black women face domestic violence at rates 35% higher than white women, yet they are less likely to seek help from authorities due to historical distrust of law enforcement and fear of subjecting Black men to a justice system many view as discriminatory. This complex intersection of race, gender, and violence creates additional barriers to protection and intervention. In retrospect, Huddleston's social media posts about paranoia and PTSD represented crucial warning signs that went unaddressed. His public acknowledgement of mental health struggles without corresponding treatment highlights a dangerous gap between recognition and intervention. The disconnect between his perfect gentleman persona and his internal reality demonstrates how effectively some individuals can compartmentalize their struggles. The absence of traditional red flags, previous violence, threats, or restraining orders underscores the need for broader awareness of subtle indicators. Changes in communication patterns, increasing isolation, references to feeling trapped, and untreated mental health issues can collectively signal potential danger, even when more obvious warning signs are absent. If you recognize these warning signs in your relationship, resources are available. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE, provides 24-hour support. Local women's shelters offer emergency housing, while organizations like the Black Women's Health Imperative provide culturally specific resources addressing the unique challenges Black women face. This tragedy shows how quickly domestic situations can escalate. If you found this analysis valuable, please like, comment, and subscribe to help others recognize these warning signs. Your engagement helps save lives by spreading awareness. What other cases would you like me to cover in future episodes of Explosive True Crime Stories?